Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly discussion series that's hosted by the Chaldean Cultural Center in collaboration with U of M Detroit Center, Unique Voices in Films, and CMN TV. I'm your host, Am Nemu, and my guest today is Mario Kiezi. Hi, Mario.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. I know you're a very busy man. So, Mario is an entrepreneur with a history of maximizing business opportunities in both retail operations and real estate development. A merchant by heart and developer by trade, to date he has acquired and developed over 2 million square feet of commercial real estate, transforming under occupied properties to ones that boast 90% or greater occupancy. His recent acquisition of Oakland Mall is among his largest to date. So Mario, that's what you're popular for, is the Oakland Mall. And I know that you know, this mall for a while has been unfortunately kind of dead, but this was my hangout place anyways, and my friends a long time ago. When did you acquire the Oakland Mall?
We acquired it about 3 months ago.
Oh, so this is very recent. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going to be waiting for all the developments that we're going to see. Now you seem fairly young. I would like to know about your background. Where were you born? Were you born in the United States or in Iraq? I know you're a Chaldean.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of four. I grew up in Sterling Heights at 16 Mile and Ryan with my family. I have two brothers, Mark and Marvin, and my sister is Mary. I'm the youngest of four. I was born in 1990, and my family lived in Oak Park until I was born, and we moved to Sterling Heights, first street off of 16 Ryan, right in the heart of the Chaldean community. And I had a very traditional Chaldean life. My family was always in business, and and I would tag along. So since I was young, my dad had smaller operations and smaller businesses that I would tag along with. One of them was at Oakland Mall, and I just opened my eye to retail. I was always working at a young age, and graduated from Sterling Heights High School in 2008, where I moved to Toledo with my family, and we had a liquor store there that we bought from my uncle, with my uncle's former store, and we just worked very hard for years, which is a traditional Chaldean story. And we sold our stores about 4 or 5 years after we moved there to Kroger, and our family was able to get a little bit of a head start where we um, started buying real estate and bought a small corner, and then I learned the business with my back against the wall. And years later, we've done I've done a lot of projects, and I'm very proud of my work, um, to this date.
Very impressive, Mario. So I like how you said that, given the Chaldean tradition, it is our tradition to work very hard. And we do have a different relationships. When I give a tour of the museum, or even online when I do presentations, when you look at our history from thousands of years back, we were builders. We had a relationship with money. The Babylonians started the shekel system, where when you bartered before, it was like you would trade cattle for certain something else, but then they created the shekel system. And but they were very hard working, and this is how the first city states were developed in that area. And so there's so much to learn from that. It's not just a matter of money. Sometimes people just think it's a matter of acquiring, but it's really, there's a talent that goes into that. And you said it was from you watching how your dad did it from a young age, or
Yeah,
even being involved, working from a young age with him.
I remember going to the wholesale with my dad when he had a liquor store in Detroit, and the car would be so filled that we had to put things in our lap in the front of in the front of the car. And he never allowed me to go to his store. He shielded me from that, which uh, I could appreciate years later. Um, but we have Babylonian blood, and we have entrepreneurial spirit coming out of us, and I really hope to encourage the youth to tap into that. And everybody has different talents, and we just, as the generations go on, we're working smarter. And my goal being a leader in our community, is to help encourage the youth to go into fields that they love and work smarter, not harder. Work, you have to work hard, but you have to work smart too. The world is changing, and I really want to encourage the next generation to be the best that they can be.
So, what do you believe is the connection between real estate development and community building? How do those kind of tie in, and how does the community benefit from all of that?
Sure. So if you build a restaurant, then you took an empty piece of land into a viable establishment where now people are working and vendors are receiving orders, and then consumers and customers. And what I take a lot of pride in is families coming to the site. So in my history of building shopping centers, I would build traditional shopping centers. I started building small shopping centers with a sandwich store and a cell phone store, and then I went on to building 8-unit shopping centers or some junior box shopping centers, and it wasn't really anything that was that spectacular from a sense of other than a sense of building something and creating something that the community usually wants. But leading to my work today, I take a lot of pride in my architectural designs as I've learned the business. Remember, I learned it with my back against the wall, so I didn't really have a mentor that would lead me to just show me the way. I always looked for that, never found it, and I just learned it on my own. I do things that many others wouldn't do. And what is particular about the mall is a definition of a community center. Some people go to the mall and walk. Some people go to the mall and just get away from reality, get away from home. I'm very connected with the mall walkers, the people that come to the mall. And some people, that's the only place they leave the entire day. They leave their house, they come to the mall, they might stop at the grocery store, and then they go home. And that's their only escape the entire day. And it's very important to mental health for the community. And my community work at the Oakland is going to be unlike anything I think anyone's ever done before in Metro Detroit. We're very community orientated. We're going to be giving entrepreneurs opportunities that they would have never had before, and a lot of forward thinking concepts there of leasing within spaces where we have a lot of different studios and pop-up shops and maker opportunities for somebody who might not have the money to open up a shop, but they have the right concept and they fit our vision. And
Mm-hmm.
our vision is, we're very in tune with social good. We're very in tune of things of the future. We want products that are animal cruelty free. We want our restaurants to use the right products. We don't want, for example, I don't want restaurants. It might sound, I don't want restaurants that use canola oil. We've learned we want to try to avoid artificial colors. We want to be resourceful in terms of limiting plastic use. It's not healthy. And I hope that with the mall, it'll allow me to help educate people as well as providing products to them that they want that are typically cheaper than big brands, and bringing them in a way of community where the community enjoys those products in a very large venue. I mean, we have a Grand Central Court in the middle of the mall where it's going to get totally transformed, and it's going to be it's just going to be a beautiful place. And I don't care if you have $10 in your pocket or $1,000 in your pocket, you're welcome at our mall. You can have $0 as long as you're friendly and you're nice. Our motto, our slogan is "You belong here."
I love that, Mario. As a mom myself, everything that you said with regards to being conscientious about the health factors, that's very important to us, because as we see, it's become more of a challenge. So knowing that somebody is running such a big community place, like you said, and for me, like I said, when I was younger, this is where we hung out, and we did spend a lot of time. I mean, we looked forward to the weekend to go there, and it was different. It was busier, and there was also um, I did. It's kind of a sad sense, which it seems like you're going to be bringing it to life. Now, what caught your eye to even think of that? What was it about Oakland Mall? What was the initial attraction, or how did it come about that you felt like this is something, that a project that you want to take on, and to include in it everything that you just mentioned?
So it's an ever it's a vision that is continuing to develop as we speak today. When I bought the mall 3 months ago, our vision has completely changed since then. And what really entices me about this mall is that the mall is, for the most part, a single story mall, and the mall is 2 and 3 level malls are very difficult. We have a 1 story mall for the most part, and I bought the Sears next door, so the Sears was a separate parcel. We bought the Sears, and when I bought the Sears, it introduced me back to the mall. I had not been there for a long time. I really went there from time to time just for my own, a blast from the past kind of, or maybe buy a pair of shoes because they do have good athletics there. But for the most part, I mean, the mall was purchased in '07 by a private pension fund out of California. And the pension fund had large plans, but in '07, they bought the mall for $175 million. The mall was very viable. And they had large plans to redevelop all the land and reutilize, build apartments and do all these things. Well, those plans never came to fruition. 15 years later, the mall just got tired. They did a good job at the mall. The mall was over 90% occupied when I bought it, but a lot of those retailers, or the spaces that were put in there, were just kind of put in there for a sense to keep it, some of it full. But a lot of the retailers in there do really well. I mean, we have an average square footage sales of $400 a square foot. I'd like to double or triple that. But we're considered a value mall, and I think that as the economy and gas and things continue to kind of hold a grip on the American consumer, people are going to be looking for places free and clear of pricing intimidation. And that's another one of my slogans. I don't want people to have to come in and like a pair of shoes, and the shoes are $500 or $800 or $1,000. It's not going to happen at my place.
Right. And it's a great location. So it's right off of I-75. This is, like I said, and the area is all around it. There's so much going on around that area. So people like to stop by, whether it's for shopping or just to hang out, as you had said. So it was like one of my favorite malls. And I have a feeling from the way that you're describing it, and it's close to the residents that live, Chaldeans especially, like that live in Sterling Heights and Warren and those areas, is going to be very accessible to them. Well, it is accessible to them, but I'm saying that creating that kind of a feel for it, I think is going to also encourage more people to come in. So we'd like to just kind of tap into your philosophy. What is your philosophy on wealth and prosperity? So obviously you have a lot of confidence, and you were saying that you didn't have a mentor, but then you were going forward nonetheless, and you got to the point where you got to. What is that philosophy that has gotten you to this place? And what advice would you give our youth about it?
Well, the most important piece of advice to give to the youth is do what you love and do you. Especially in our community, you have a lot of people that are dealing with the stigmas of the Chaldean community of the past, where we're the Chaldeans of the future. And you see a lot of people that might have pressure from family, from old generations and old philosophies. Well, those philosophies have to change. You have to really do what you love to do, not what your parents want you to do. And something I really encourage the youth to do, especially in a Chaldean household, and these are things that I wish that I would have done. You have to go away for college. You have to get out of your household. You have to grow up. That's very important. We live in a Chaldean community where we shelter our kids. That's fine. You listen to your parents. That's fine. But you have to live for yourself. You can't live to appease your parents and then move on. And then all of a sudden you didn't think about yourself. And then later on, you rethink your life. So when it comes to wealth and prosperity, and I came from what I consider a lower middle class family, but we were always good. We were my dad was not a spender like a lot of his generation. That generation was work hard, don't spend money, save money, and quite honestly, somewhat the opposite of our generation. We spent a lot of money. It wasn't like our parents. And God bless that generation. I love that generation. I really cherish it. The way I look at wealth, I came, when we sold our stores at Kroger, it was like our first big windfall. So I had very little money. We were buying stores in Ohio. We were negotiating phenomenal deals. I mean, I bought some stores for $50,000. I flipped them for $2.5 million at 21 or 22 years old. So I seen money come quick, and then I started developing in shopping centers. And I'm 32 years old, but I think I've done the work of 10 lives possibly in the work that I've done. So money doesn't really motivate me as much as ambition motivates me. And the way I look at my career is like, society wants you to work with the hopes that you can retire at some point, go to school, then go to another school, and then work the rest of your life with the hopes that you can retire. My goal is, the way I look at my portfolio, I had a 10-year bull run after I sold my stores and my real estate, where the banks were giving out money on low interest, and I built a portfolio out of that. And now the environment's changing, so I've actually halted and I've slowed down on my developments. I don't build anymore. I have 2 or 3 acquisitions left of stuff that I'm still purchasing, and then I plan on just focusing on my current portfolio. If I can just knock out the Oakland, I don't really aspire to work the rest. I don't aspire to be the richest guy in the room. I don't aspire to be the richest Chaldean that there ever was. But what I want to be is, I want to be the richest Chaldean in terms of teaching the youth, in terms of philanthropy, in terms of connecting our community with other communities, in terms of killing stigmas, and in terms of growth, in terms of acknowledging things that our community will not acknowledge, or maybe we're on the brink of acknowledging, as such as mental health, not in just the youth, but the adults. The adults have a lot of things that we need to address, and we just need more leaders. People are oftentimes critical to the leaders of our community. Well, we need more. Everybody's doing their part, but we need more and more. And I have a specific. I'm trying to connect the Jewish community with the Chaldean community. I've actually had some of the higher some of the biggest Jewish families call me after I acquired Oakland Mall, and I challenge them to do something from a philanthropy standpoint to bring the Jewish and the Chaldean community together, or teach us your ways. I mean, community engagement is very important, and they do a very good job of keeping the community together. When I was just getting into real estate, I went to an office building, and it changed my life. And I wish maybe I would have started early, but you cannot look back. You have to look forward. And I went into this office building, and it was a very humble office, and it said Jewish Family Services. And that was beautiful. And I always just thought Chaldean Family Services, not just for Chaldeans, but I have a sensitivity, especially to my side of town on the east side. And I just hope the best for the future.
Your observations are very wise, because the Jewish community, a lot of people agree on this. Even myself, as a writer and filmmaker, I have made similar observations about the Jewish community, is their success of understanding the power of sharing their stories, the power of media. So you've observed their wisdom in that. And I once, when I talk or give them tours, or my association with them is, what causes them to be so successful the way they are. And they say, they don't forget the trauma and the genocide and all the stuff that they came from, and they want to make sure that it doesn't happen to them again. And they use that to empower themselves and to give back. I think for the Chaldeans, especially the ones that are born there, or they experienced born in Iraq. I was also born in Iraq, but I didn't experience the wars. But there is a certain type of trauma. And there's also regarding when you were saying how the other generations were with money, and it was always because there was so much fear associated with where we came from. Being oppressed, being unable to take the money out of the country to come here, and so we had to come here and start from zero. And so our elderly and our parents, they made it possible for us, for the younger generation, to view money differently, because they were able to provide in a way that wasn't as available for them. But at the same time, it's like, okay, how can we kind of let go of that? And as you said, the mental health issues, is addressing the things that we went through, so that we can heal, so that we can grow. So with your interest in these areas, I'm sure there will be so many opportunities for you to help people, especially because you're going to have the space for it, and you already have what's already inside of you for it. So those are really wonderful assets, and there are a lot of gifts for the community. So you said that it's not money that motivates you. And from a lot of successful people and millionaires and billionaires that I've read about, they often say that. Actually, I think even Trump had said that money is not what motivates him. So what does motivate you to become, like on a professional level or a personal level, that gets you to become so successful in what you're doing?
That's a great question. I mean, success, ambition, pushing myself to do things, you know, fulfilling God's mission. God put me in place, gave me a venue. I mean, look at the venue that I have and what I just talked about and what I'm going to be capable of doing. You know, it's really just making the world a better place. And a lot of this stuff I've just realized lately. I believe that life is very short and that, you know, we live in a society where it's just, you know, one upping another, or you know, who has the most money or who has the nicest cars or the nicest house. And you know, that's it's nice to have a nice house, it's nice to have nice cars. um but what, you know, my motivation is like just to just be very straight to the point. If I can knock out the Oakland, I can build 1,000 CVSs, right? Which is not possible because CVS doesn't build stores. But if I built 1,000 CVSs and I made $1 billion, what did I really do for the community? If I take the Oakland and I turn it into a community center that touches lives and is a great venue and nice place, we have a great 20 or 30-year run. I'll be remembered forever for providing something nice for the community that otherwise would have been something much different. And that's really my motivation.
Well, Mario, we can so feel that because I don't know how many times, like I'll say Oakland Mall and you say community center. So you're not even calling it a mall. The fact that you keep calling it a community center really touches the heart, because we could see that this is then, that matches with everything that you've been saying. Um, and so given what you have done all these years, and this motivates you, the things that motivate you, the success, what challenges did you face along the way? There must have, what were the biggest obstacles during this whole process, and how did you overcome them?
I've had so many obstacles. I mean, I have a lot of miles on me. I was in new shopping center development and, you know, building and construction and learning in tenants. You're at tenants' mercies a lot of time. And, you know, I went to Detroit and we bought 3 buildings that were vacant. And one of the buildings was a 2-year challenge. You know, challenges with self growth, challenges with growing up, challenges with some of the things that I mentioned earlier. Those are all challenges, and there's 2 ways to fight your challenges. There's one is just give up, and one is to fight. And you know, I'm a fighter, and you know, I've had my challenge. I continue to have challenges every single day. You know, I lost my father 2 years ago. That was a year of a very difficult challenge. In terms, you know, it changed my whole perspective on life. You know, but just dealing with personalities, learning what partnerships were, learning what, just learning a lot about psychology and human nature in business, and really just trying to keep relationships. Um, you know, it's hard in our community. We have multiple relate, like we want to do business with our cousins or do business with our brothers, or you know, and I love my brothers. I have a large amount of holdings with them. Uncles. It's very important to have one relationship with people. And you know, a lot of my growth has came from that, in a sense of, you know, you do a deal with somebody, you can make them $1 million, and they can look at you and say, what's the next deal? And they're not happy. And you can look at somebody and you can give them $200, or you can, you know, in some cases lease them a car and take, you know, in the days where the cars were $150 a month, you pay off a 2-year lease for them. You see them 5 years later and they say, I pray for you every single night. And that's really my motivation more than anything. It's that sensitivity that keeps me going, and the greed that really doesn't keep, you know, it really kills my ambition more than anything else.
Hmm. Yeah, like again, the emphasis that what you are making a lot of money, but you are focusing on the heart of why you are doing what you're doing. So it's not just about accumulation and the greed that you're talking about. And we do have this tendency in the community where it's always like, what's next? There isn't enough to kind of stop and like smell the coffee, as they say, because I think again, given where we came from, and there's this tendency, just there's a mentality, a little bit of a survival of constantly being out of making, not enough time to just kind of sit back and enjoy it. And there is that issue of philanthropy, which I'm not sure why that is as much, because in this country we are taught about philanthropy, giving back, and in all religions have this encourage encourage it. So I'm just wondering, from your observation, do you know what would be the hesitation about the philanthropy in the community? Because I know we are a fairly wealthy community, which I give a lot of credit to, because people are amazed at such a short time we were able to develop ourselves, and given from the what we came from, really most of us came without being able to take our wealth with us and bring it here, for the most part. But what do you think is that hesitation about philanthropy? And for you, as somebody who is wealthy and established, um, what is your viewpoint on it? What advice would you give people about it?
So there's two ways of doing things. There's one way of doing it with your mind and another way of doing it with your money. So if you don't have the money or you're building yourself and you're not in a position yet to do that, then you can do it with your mind. And we often have a philosophy of, be a shark underwater and don't share information, or a loose tongue is often a weak man. I don't find that to be true. I mean, there are things, I'm very out there. I'm on TikTok. I talk about a lot of things. I teach people. There's also things that I know I have to keep to myself, right? So, I think there's two different phases of it, but I think there's a lot of education that needs to go into that. And something for me that really changed my life was, I had a I call him my Jewish father. He's a Jewish mentor to me that I worked under for 3 years, and taught me a lot of Jewish ethics, Jewish character, and introduced me to a lot of new things that I wasn't exposed to on the east side of town. We don't have many Jewish people in Sterling Heights or in my high school or anything. So really introduced me to that. But and we're also in a different era today too. I think we need more leaders to put together projects. I often I've had an ambition to do what I call a 100-man group, which, and I say 100-man group. I want it to be at least half women. I'm very interested in empowering women. I'm very interested, especially within our community. I think that women are the future. I think the moms and the girls that have three, or my wife has 3 kids at home. We have strong women, and the philosophy of the old days where you would stay home and cook and clean and take care of the kids. That has changed, and my I think that the sharing your knowledge is more important sometimes than sharing your money, especially within our community.
Hmm. I really enjoyed listening to you, Mario. I know I have had the chance in researching information about you, and reading the articles, to see your lovely family, and it's wonderful. It seems like you're a very well balanced person that looks at different aspects of yourself, so you are not consumed by one area. It's really healthy to see that, because sometimes I think that the best thing that we can do is just be an example of joy and success, not necessarily even just watching you. I mean, so we might not even never, whether we meet in person ever or not, but just watching that is a great example of how to live an authentic lifestyle, to pursue your dreams, and also to be balanced and understand the importance of love and family, and relationships that are around you. So I don't, you we have like just like a minute left. Any last words that you want to leave us with before we leave?
Well, I
And
hope
also, how can people, you can share that, of course, and then how can people connect, so that if they want to create their business inside Oakland Mall?
so. Thank you for sharing. I hope I do have the chance to meet you. And I just want to say, I was part of the bubble, and then I got out of the bubble. So I'm trying to teach people, because I was once what a lot of other people are, and I've had growth and a lot of positivity in my life, and it's very important to spread positivity and to help encourage people, and to help not bring people down, make them happy. Don't upset people. Don't say things that are not going to make people happy. But I hope I get to meet you. And I love when people reach out to me. I've had some of the biggest, I say I closed on one of the most significant sites in Metro Detroit. I had some people I never thought in a million years would ever reach out to me, that reached out to me and said, "Congratulations, young man." And then I had some other people that just didn't reach out. So I always say, encourage people. It goes a long way. And if people want to reach out to me, it's not that hard. I'm a busy man, but I'm not that busy. I take the call that I want to take. And just to wrap it up, with people that want to do things within the mall, we are developing our plans. We are looking for brands and concepts that, not brands, we're not looking for brands, we're an anti-brand mall. We're looking for concepts that fit our model of community. And if you have that, we would be happy to speak to you.
Great. Well, you know what? I do wish that we do end up meeting in person one day, but until then, I wish you and your family the best of luck. And thank you for joining us today, Mario.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed the conversation. Have a great day. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye bye.